on. This is it. This is it. This is fucking 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 it right here. Right here. Right here. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Kill this. Kill this fucking shit. Let's go. Fuck yeah. Let's fucking go. Yes. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to MogTalk episode 219. Today is February 13th, 2021. We are doing a special MogTalk today. And if you are unfamiliar with MogTalk, it's a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community, discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. And recently we had a pretty amazing new raid that was introduced. With 48 people. We don't have all 48 people here today, but we got a lot of people. And so we brought them on Discord to have a conversation about Savage. And this is going to be messy and shitty and fucked up and everything. And we're just going to fill it out and see what we can do. Sorry for everybody that might not know what's going on. But before we get started, the one person I will say did lead the group and kind of got everybody together. I'll have him introduce himself. Kana, would you tell everybody who you are?
Hi, I'm Kana from Genova. What else do I say?
I don't fucking know.
This is my group, Aether Group 2. I don't know why we're called this, but Frosty named us this.
Look.
And the group I put together, I would say 4 months before this is out.
4 months?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick round table. We have Alina, Alaho, Ara, Arya, Arthas, Ura, Bagel, Jagaba, Kana, Kev, Libby, Lua, Lyra, Rose, Miyuki, Momoheim, Nepo, Please Carry Me, Palm, Rafter, Rin Karagani, Robin, Skylar, Subs, Suki, Umi, Uria, and last but not least, Zep. I don't know how to say half your names, so I'm sorry. But I did my best. So, as we could start, I do feel like I need to apologize to all of you real quick. I did mark your name down as Aether Group 2. I need to explain myself a little bit, because I know that's not what you were intending. But when this started and the world race happened, for getting this clear first, I figured I was like, I don't fucking know what this group is, but I know there's people in it. And I saw Xeno streaming. I'm like, I'm not going to call it Xeno's group, because I don't fucking know, who's leading or anything. I didn't know Kana was leading it. I just knew there was another group out there. And so I threw Aether Group 2 up there. And I figured I'll figure it out later. And then Zep came to me. He was like, what the fuck?
Wait, let me stop you there a little bit.
Sure.
So you were the one that came up with the name.
It
Yes.
wasn't supposed to be your name. It was a placeholder while I was trying to figure everything out. I'll let you know. I was hoping the world race was done before I woke up. All right. And so I was like, I don't have to track this. It's just going to be like one of these quick little race things that, people do. It's over, done, on to the next thing. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. And on my cell phone, I made a new page on the MogTalk website, a new table, a new everything to try to track it. And I typed it in, and I said I'd figure it out later. And then, unfortunately, it stuck when I wasn't expecting it to stick. And so sorry for that. Kana, I'm sorry. I know you wanted the group name to be something different too.
We are deeply offended.
How dare.
But the only group that I actually knew was the Radiance group. So I put Radiance and Friends, and I was like, Aether Group, all right, this is the second one on Aether, then so on and so on and so on. And But whatever. So that's the name for everyone that wants to know. It was because I'm a fucking idiot and wasn't prepared enough. But I'm glad you guys aren't too upset at me, right?
Trust me, we had a lot of memes at your expense.
I think we just found it funny, so we stuck with it. And then we just like every time we were like trying to beat Radiance, we were like, okay, are we in group 1 now? Like, are we like above them now?
No, I couldn't change it.
Like,
Let's go.
So, talking about that a little bit, were you guys like really set on getting world first on this? Like that was your main goal?
Honestly, we just wanted to try our best and clear the fastest. And we're happy with whatever. But I know a lot of people want it first because competition is more fun, right?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to like track this too, because people like Arthas are like, "Hey, I'll be in the JP group, then I'll be on the NA group." It just jump around, so it's not like one solid group. It's just a mostly.
Okay,
Go ahead, Arthas.
Okay, regarding this, I actually wanted to say when you guys were talking about like the group and stuff. Okay, I wanted to, for me, I joined the JP group also like about 3-4 months ago because I know Haru Glory will do this kind of like hardcore. So and also during the time, to be honest, even though I'm in NA for like a year-ish, I still don't really know a lot of like NA, the raiders, the people who is like organizing stuff. I only know and play with like Xeno, Violent, and only on PF. I don't really like, even like I know Rin a lot. I know Momo a lot, but I don't really have the chance to like get on behind the scene and like, hey yo, Rin want to do something together, or like, hey yo, Momo want to do something together. So it's something like we are in the same stream team. We know how each other play. We know they are good players, but really never get the chance or know how to get into each other books to be like being in this type of thingy where I can be in the circle and be invited or like wake it around and say, because if I know this group was around and if I have connection to this group and Orkana, I actually would have joined this group at the beginning. But for me, I always go for like the safe route. I always go for like I do things where I join groups that I know is recruiting and I join groups that I know will be there. Like Haru Glory, we all know, right? They will 100% do it. He loves to stream. He's pretty hardcore. Although the group he put together sometimes might not be the best, but they always go long hours. And I know I can like, okay, if I sit there when he ready check, 100% 48 people will be there ready to go, right? That's why I joined them. So my plan was to raid with them. This time he felt like he only wanted to. He doesn't want to do like what he did in BA. Like 12 hours, or what he did in Savage Ultimate, like 12-16 hours. He only wanted to do like 6 to 8 hours a day. So I'm like, yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, at the end of the day, this is not Ultimate. I don't really give a shit about Savage. This one is gonna be more of a fun. So I joined them. Now, eventually I will. I always say this that my Aether character is my main character. So eventually I will clear it then. So when Violent and Xeno were like trying to do something together, I'm like, nah, you know what? I don't really know any, like I said earlier. I'll just hang around. I know, right? For sure, right? After 2 days, 3 days, no way in hell 48 people, NA or JP, it doesn't matter. No way in hell 48 people will stick around for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days in a row. At some point, some serious group is gonna have opening. Might be one opening, might be two opening, but there will be opening. And then when my JP schedule settle in, because NA is totally opposite time, right? So I know I play a lot. I know I'm very excited for this kind of content. I can play 16-20 hours a day. So I'm like, yeah, I will join a group, a random group when I can. So as I expected, 3 days, 4 days later, 2 days later, Violent and Xeno is like, yo, we have a spot. You want to come? We only got like 40. We almost got it, man. We didn't have 48. We are like missing one, missing two. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me check my clock. Yeah, I'll go. So when I join this group, right, my expectation is that this is just for fun. This is just few friends. Somebody make a group put together. I have no idea. I was quite shocked a few moments ago when Kana said he put this group 4 months ago. Then I start to play with them. These people, then I'm like, holy shit, these people is good. These people is serious. These people is consistent. These people know that, like, I've seen some of you motherfuckers play, alright? In PF, you guys joined my PF. I saw you guys on stream. You guys are greedy fucks. You guys meme a lot. So suddenly, I play with you guys like, dude, wait, this guy is different. This guy is not the same. Those call-outs are amazing, by the way. I would just want to randomly put it in. Like, those people calling, okay, next is Chariot. I want you guys to get out. Don't greet GCD. I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? What the hell? So me joining this group is like a very lucky coincidence, but I'm really glad there was an opening as I expected, according to my Keikaku. So, yeah, ever since that, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe now that Haru Glory only rates 6 to 8 hours, now I got the other 10 hours a day free, and these guys happen to go right immediately, the Haru Glory. This is perfect. So I'm going to make an effort to commit. So from day 2 onwards, I was like, I saw the Discord, the announcement, we have space, we only want people who can come. Wait, can I say this? It's fine, right? We only want people who can come. If you don't bother, if you can't show up the next 2-3 days, don't bother reacting. I'm like, okay, I make sure that I full commit, then but I never regret because you guys are amazing, man. You guys are fucking amazing. Thanks for having me though, and I'm sorry I talked too much. Please carry on.
Okay, no, it's good. It's good. So that being said, it sounds like this was kind of a very fluid situation that you had to work with a lot. But Connie, you said you did like 4 months of prep. What does the prep? Go ahead.
Gathering people, I started like 4 months ago. The prep wasn't really much.
Okay. So, how many people did you have? I guess maybe a month or so before the content came out.
40, 39-ish. And then like when they announced that it was coming out next week is when I started feeling it.
Okay. So how many people in the end was your group in total? I know it was more than 48.
Like maybe 55.
55?
We had like a 55-man roster basically.
Jesus. Okay. All right. Before, besides people and getting them together, what you like prep was nothing, you said?
The prep was just getting people mentally prepared, which is actually one of the hardest parts. No one expected this to be hard. They all thought it would die in 5 hours.
I hear people laughing about that.
Yeah, Skylar's one of them. This would die in 5 hours, and it did not die in 5 hours.
I was proven wrong.
Yeah, so we had a lot of people day one that were just mentally checked out, like, I don't know, like 8 hours in probably. Yeah, a lot of AFKing too.
And a lot of the actions from first set of Balstra were rendered useless.
Yeah. So we did prep a little of the actions and telling people what to get for their loadouts, but the new actions made a lot of them useless. So there really wasn't that much prep.
Okay.
Just get people organized in groups, pretty much.
Fair enough. I mean, that's actually kind of fucking funny. You go through all this work. Did you do any, like, I don't know, studying or thoughts or, like, what might possibly be what you see when you go into this? Like, anything that you did to strategize going into this? Or was it just like, we'll see when we get there outside of, the few loadouts you had ready?
So only really 2 things. One, we just had universal markers for everyone to do, but they ended up making it for everyone anyways in the instance, so that was easy. And the other was just dividing groups so people know, like, for example, groups 1, 2, 3 would go left and 4, 5, 6 right. That was pretty much it. There wasn't much else you could do.
Okay. All right, so talking about coordination, even in WoW, they don't really have this anymore, but 48 people is a lot of people, 55 even more so, to coordinate and try to organize and everything else. What structure can you do to make sure you have a successful coordination between all your players when you have that many people?
Honestly, a lot of times there are a lot of people talking at the same time, so it's kind of hard. And I know some people got triggered that they weren't being heard, so that we added like priority speaker after day 2.
Okay.
And it was mostly using it most of the time. He'd just tell people to shut up and listen to him.
Who told him to shut up?
Zep.
Zep?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he can add more.
Zep, talk about that a little bit.
May have used it.
May?
I don't remember.
Well, it was
Use it a few
It was
times.
mostly like when we got to like new phases where so many people were talking at the same time that like someone has to be that one guy that annoys everyone and then tells people to like what to do, right? And well, that guy was me.
Oh, you're the bossy asshole.
Play the bad guy.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, we had a relatively smooth experience when we got to things. We had a lot of strong players, like Arthur said. He was very surprised with the NA community, right? We had a lot of people who were quick to jump on responsibility, right? So then they didn't need communication for what they had to get, right? You have Robin who's gonna use an invuln on this tank buster, and you have people who are gonna dispel this, and people who are ready to evoke that, and they don't need to be told to do it. So you just call out the global mechanics that are happening. Like you get to the 4 chess piece, and you're like, all right, there's a chariot coming up. Suki's very good with his call outs. He's like, all right, if you're tethered, you're gonna do this, and then everybody else just has to kind of pay attention to, okay, I'm not tethered, so I do the other thing, and then the other people with individual responsibility were just strong players who were able to just take command and do what they needed to do without being told, and that clears a lot of the comms out. So even if things did become cluttered, it didn't really cause a mistake necessarily, and that helped. That went a long way.
Okay. So things sort of kind of just fell into place with people who are comfortable with doing certain things, and there wasn't too much headbutting.
Yeah. After day 1, people just kind of knew who the shot callers were. It was like Zap, Suki, I forget who else. Raptor. Yeah.
Raptor, Jaguar.
Yeah, and Rin later.
Rin for Ice and Cold.
Yeah, I joined day 2.
Okay. Did you have maybe team leads or anything like that for each group, or was it just like throw people in the groups and make it work?
Just slimes.
Slimes, okay.
Slimes and golems.
Yeah, the golem side we didn't even really talk. And then we ended up actually moving players around to play into buffs. Like, okay, this person got the 1v1 dual buff. Let's stack them and let's make sure everybody's got a caster melee. But for the most part, I mean, you just had like the shot callers could cover everything else.
Okay. That doesn't sound
We
too
technically
bad.
had team leads, but we didn't really make use of it in the end because it's like what we said. You had like one shot caller for specific mechanics, so you really only need like that one guy instead of like a team leader for things. We also were lucky that Kana was doing the whole organization for us and like finding people and subs. So it wasn't like team leaders having to search. It was just Kana doing it.
Oh, so Kana organized the roster and getting people and making sure it stayed filled?
Miserable.
So, all right. Is this the first time you've had to manage this many people, Kana? In any environment?
Yeah, I kind of have an FC, I guess, but it's not as close to this. This is probably like the first time.
Okay.
I guess I got a static too. It's only 8 people.
Yeah, static, whatever.
Anyone getting DMs by Kana?
What'd you say? Sorry, I spoke over.
Anyone getting DMs by Kana?
Oh,
I actually didn't get one.
all right, explain this
that
joke.
day 2 DM sheet where you had like just a million people
Alright,
trying to contact,
so-
and Kana can't respond to everyone.
So Kadam pretty much threatened us to play well, otherwise we would receive a DM at the end of the day. You have to play better, otherwise you're gonna get repped for the next day.
Oh, wait, I didn't say that. The rest part.
Yeah, that was extra.
Was that part
I did
silent?
not say that.
He was
that's
definitely
what I'm
gonna flame
imagining.
you.
Yeah, it's gonna imagine that.
Oh, how many people did you DM, Kana?
Like 4 people.
Okay. Were they like nasty? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Or were they like, hey, sorry, you're great and everything, but I think it's best if we go separate ways for this next attempt.
Went to the logs. I looked at it and I saw the top deaths, and I went to them and told them to stop dying.
Okay, that's fair.
They did stop dying. They played better.
So, myself, I haven't actually done Savage. I've watched it and everything else, but from my understanding, a lot of the mechanics within it, it's all personal responsibility of them not letting themselves die. Other people can't really kill them, right? Unless if it just starts to snowball, but...
There was one thing where you could kill people, I think. Just the Minotaurs? Is
Well,
that
It
And
depends.
Dahu with the fire.
Yeah, the mini bosses you can kill people
Yeah, the
pretty
mini
easily.
it? Right, yeah. That was easy, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the main bosses you couldn't really heck it up too much.
You can kill people if you tell them to go south on Phantom boss.
Oh
I'm gonna show that clip.
Oh god, you can put it in. You can put it in chat. Put it in chat.
Right. Do
but-
you have it, Kana?
I don't even know if Kana has a Twitch account, man. I don't even know if Kana has social media in any regards at all. Jesus. But yeah, no, I think that the reason I was asking that is because that makes the top defs more relevant because it's on them if they die. It's not really on anyone else if someone dies. And so it makes it a little bit easier to tell, which makes it I think, easier in big, long fights where you have so many people and everything else that when these deaths happen, it's always on other people. It's not like, E10, gotcha, I knew I'd fucking get you. I knew I'd get you. Who is that? Or is it Winterstone?
The Phantom Debate link.
Yeah.
I was trying to clip, but I didn't realize.
Yeah, there we go. I got you. I was just waiting for someone to post it because that happens every single time. There you go. You can post now.
The moral of that story is don't assume something's going to happen the same way every time just
Don't
because
think
the
it's-
sample size is 3.
Yeah.
Don't think a mechanic is static.
Man. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit more too, about just organizing people. What were the struggles? What were the things, Kana, that you ran into that you were like, this was fucking hell, and I never want to go through it again?
Well, definitely number one is the different expectations, I think. A lot of people wanted to go hard, but then there were the people that didn't care as much, I guess, and these are mostly people that were leaving, that would had to be replaced. And that's why, like, day 2, I kind of got upset, and I tagged everyone. I said, if you didn't want to stay, then you're going to be rep for good, because we couldn't afford to keep repping everyone and having them relearn the individual mechanics and everything. Like, not everything could be carried by callouts. That would slow down Prog a lot. Because, like, what happened day 2 was, like, around, like, I think 10 people just left to go raid, like, do weeklies. Like, come on. Weeklies? When there's no ultimate?
Well, they didn't know.
We didn't know then, so
You
Still,
think about it
weekly
right
is
now.
really fair.
You
Kinda
think
wish
about
they
it
would've
right
kept,
now. After the live letter, they probably regret that decision.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of
yeah.
people did come back, because after reading what I said, they did come back.
That's nice. You gotta be like an asshole for them to,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Yeah. Drill
That's a
sergeant.
commitment.
Funniest part was Arthur's telling us about Jimmy.
What?
What did he say?
Wait,
Tell
what?
us about that.
Arthas?
There, just left.
He just
Wait,
left.
what, Jimmy?
I can't believe you
Wait.
abandoned us.
Wait, fill me in. What, Jimmy? What thing? Which part?
With the teacher and Jimmy.
Oh.
Oh, wait, let me think. Shit, I forget. I
I
forget
kinda
my
remember,
reference
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, this is really funny.
Oh, it's like you go to a field trip. You go to class. Is it that one? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you go to class, the hard thing about this 48 man that I realized, right? It's like in a class. When you are in elementary school, your teacher is like, okay, everybody ready? We are going for excursion. Everybody check your bags. Is your water bottle filled? Make sure your lunchbox is intact. And then you always got this one Jimmy. It's like, oh, teacher, I need to go to the toilet still. Okay, Jimmy, everybody's waiting for you. And then the whole class, the whole school bus is like waiting for the one Jimmy. Coming back from the
except
toilet.
we had like 5 Jimmys day 1. Literally.
Jimmy, Susan,
It wasn't
Billy's.
just one person. People took turns like AFKing, and it was so annoying.
Yeah. So like when the Jimmy come back from the toilet, teacher, I'm ready, and then you got John on the other side, like teacher, it's my turn to go toilet, and then like, oh god.
Yeah, actually, when talking to a lot of hardcore teams, especially during like World Race and everything, one of the biggest issues is if someone takes a break, it's like it turns into 3 people taking a break, but one of them's going to take longer than they should, right? And it just turns into this kind of snowball effect where you, instead of a 5-minute break, you have like a 30-minute break. So I can't imagine how bad that could snowball on the first day. One of the big things that I got from a lot of teams that were talking about that first day is that they were just exhausted and just tired and done pretty early on within that first day. And I'm guessing that's one of the frustrations you were dealing with, right, Kana?
We actually went pretty long compared to other groups, I think.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It stopped pretty early. Like, it wasn't a full 16-hour day, I don't think.
I think on day 1 was pretty long. It was like 10 hours or something.
Oh, okay.
It was definitely long. I was
It
like,
was like 14 or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
14.
14?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys were still going at 10
Yeah, we
p.m.
were
Eastern.
going like above any group, yeah.
Day 1 was also the most wipes. So there was metal shock there too.
Yeah, slime. Whew.
Restarting
Slimes.
the first 2 minutes.
All right.
Yo, I did not expect the slime to be that crazy.
No.
Yeah.
It was
When I woke up and like I was like, all right, how's everybody doing? Who's cleared what? It's like no one's cleared the trash yet. I'm like, what? What the fuck does that even mean? And so like I looked and I just saw people pulling dying the slimes every single time, and I was like, this wasn't even a normal, right? Like, what the
No, it's
fuck?
not.
No.
That was a big surprise.
Who was wait, one big brain? Who was it again, Kana? I don't remember.
Slime?
The slime strat.
There's
Who
like
was it?
3 people, I think.
Mayuki,
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Okay, yeah.
So
There's a couple people that like figured out. Okay, so we have to either kill these at the same time, but if they die, they also leave the same like effect, pretty much, right? So they like the squares need to light up together.
Yeah, Miko
So,
was the
like-
one that noticed that you didn't
Yeah.
have to kill them. If they just exploded, it would trigger the platform. And
Right.
that just completely changed the strat, I guess.
So instead of like
Range the
us
thing.
like, oh, let's go kill these like at the same time, we just figured out, okay, let's try just having them explode at the same time, and then just get as far away as possible from them and hope it doesn't kill us.
I'm guessing Square Enix didn't intend for that to happen.
They totally did. I feel like they did, but no one thinks they did.
Yeah.
I think they did. They added a
Yeah.
broken bridge that
Yeah,
has a
exactly.
safe spot you can stand on. Why would that exist if
Exactly.
you couldn't? Like, why would they make an outrangeable Doom?
Yeah. Why would they make the doors, open up
Yeah, the door's open the whole time.
to let you just run there?
But it sounds cheesy. It sounds way too cheesy for a mechanic.
Yeah, we
It was
thought
very
that at
cheap.
first because everything just disappears once you resolve it. It actually looks so funny.
I don't know.
That DPS check would also be hard without any actions too.
Yeah.
If you had the just 15 seconds, if you didn't use the soldiers to knock them back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna ask this to Arthas real quick because he has the experience with it. The differences between your JP party and the NA party and everything. Since you're kind of in both of those groups, you got World First and World Second, Arthas. So what are the biggest differences between those two groups that you saw?
Ooh, biggest differences. Organizing. I think organizing. Like, okay, because it's a little bit different this time, right? Like I said earlier in the show, like Haru Glory only planned 6 to 8 hours. He only wanted to do 6 to 8 hours. So it's like, I think maybe he lowered the expectation because I'm not sure about his recruitment process, but I was in the Discord for like 3 months. Maybe because he couldn't find 48 people to strictly play more than the hours he wanted. Again, this is just me speculating, right? It's not. I didn't really ask him or anything. This is just me speculating. I assume he couldn't find 48 people to do 10 plus hours. So this time he lowered the expectation to become 6 to 8. So maybe with lowered expectation, maybe people can commit more. So every single night, right? Whenever we are ready to go, on the spot, on the time, we always have 48 people. Nobody is late. Everybody is always there. Even the replacement people is always there. So immediately we go. Like today, 1 week later after the clear, right? Today we actually had the reclear group. So today we showed up at 8. I was totally expecting here we go again, the Jimmy story, right? Somebody's gonna be late. Somebody's gonna be slow. But I was surprised. Like within 5 minutes, all 48 people are still here. So it's like, I think they are more disciplined in terms of like making the time check. Ready check also go really, you one shot the ready check, one shot the entry. Nobody is like suddenly, cancel registration. So that part for my JP group, I felt like, maybe people, shorter hours, they know what they are in for. Maybe they are just ready to sit there and ready to go. Whereas in like the NA, I mean, for me, it's unfair for me to judge because I only joined this group 2 days later. So 2 days later, it's already at a stage where, they still always have like 42, 45 people, but they're always lacking that 2 to 3, right? So the first day I joined them, we waited like, I think 1.5 hours before we get all 48 finally. So that is the difference. But, I mean, I don't mind it, right? I just finished my race, so I don't mind chilling on stream for like an hour, but that is the difference. This is not to say, people are not dedicated to be there and ready. This is more like, I think people didn't expect this content to last more than 2 to 3 days. And also, like Kana says earlier, people maybe didn't expect that and also have like, their weekly rate scheduled around this. So maybe they weren't 100% focused on making this making on time for this type of content. And also 48 people is just really, really troublesome all in all to organize. So for me, that is normal. It's just the JP group was surprisingly more. Yeah, I was just surprised people actually is there ready to go. That's the main difference. Okay. But in terms of like organizing, call out, who is leading, not congesting the voice channel. Everybody, like Rin said earlier, everybody in the group knows their personal responsibility. You don't have to hold hands. You just have to tell them, okay, bomb is tethered. You don't have to tell everybody, okay, if you are tethered to the bomb, you do this. If you are not tethered to the bomb, you do that. Everybody knows, right? Bomb is tethered. It means that I got this mechanic. I go here. If I don't have it, I go there. So both groups, I felt, people were very ready with individual responsibility. So yeah, that part kind of like takes care of itself. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it is pretty interesting to think about that as well, because a lot of people, I guess, weren't really expecting to go as long with this content. Although I heard, Kana, you definitely expected it to be, long hours from the get-go, right?
Yeah, Zep and I both did.
What? You just had that hunch, right? I'm assuming.
I don't know. Reading their interviews, it really seemed like they made this hard. I mean, there was a normal mode, right? It couldn't be that easy if there's a normal mode.
It's true. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you say that about Extreme. There's a normal mode for Extreme.
I guess.
So, it's hard to analyze what Square Enix is going to do, and I feel like this was definitely a surprise to me, because I was like, it's 48 people. It's already challenging by having that many people. I guess a good question now, going back to it, does it even feel difficult doing re-clears, or is it all really straightforward, easy?
No, easy. Because you do so much damage, you skip everything. Doesn't
The
even matter
problem
anymore.
solving was the big thing.
Yeah, the problem solving was the hardest part.
The only issue with weakness is if you have like new people or like people that do colors and they're not there, like it gets a bit more confusing.
But we could even afford to dump into more DPS actions because we're like, okay, we know the path of where these traps are going to be. Tanks just run through with your invulns, and now we're saving actions. And we're like, okay, now we can we could steal actions from our allies, so now we get to save points there too. We figured out a lot. Like first 2 days, people didn't really know what the Pure Essence's additional effects were, and then they found them out, and it was really good.
Yeah, that was.
It goes along their usual design with the initial proc is difficult, and people have to practice the personal responsibility mechanics, and after that, it gets easier and easier as you do more clears. It's how they've been doing the fights over the past 2 years now.
So I
also think that the difficulty of taking that long, the difficulty of taking that long, I think, is also appropriate, considering part of the difficulty of Baldesian Arsenal was you needed to get all of your team in BA from the instance without people sniping your portals. Now you just got to go in right away, right? So I kind of expected them to make the learning curve a little higher once you were in there. And then once you have that solved, you're good.
There's also a fair point that I mentioned to the people in here is you have people that call specific mechanics and once you take away those people and everyone has to do the mechanics for themselves entirely, all the bosses, then it turns significantly more difficult, and you see a lot of people die to mechanics then. So that's also something to consider.
Even different callouts, right? I think we were talking earlier about like the calls for the swords in Trinity Seeker being like 2, 3, 1, 4, and then left, right, right, left.
Right,
and then people are like, wow, what is this?
Yeah, like the blue, white, and the sandstone. Because I know like the Radiance group calls it blue, white, and I know like some people in our group were having issues with that because they're like colorblind and stuff. So we had to swap. We had to swap in sandstone.
Holy shit! I'm glad you talk about this sand and stone stuff. Every time you guys call sand and stone, I'm like fucking raging on stream. I'm like, what the fuck is a sand and a stone?
We said colors day one, but then I think Livy was the one that said, "What are colors? They mean nothing to me."
That was you called like brown. I'm like, brown.
They're both brown. Joke's on you.
So I guess my question is, did any of you use the colorblind settings they have in the game?
I do not actually. I've tried it, but I found it didn't really help that much. I mean, if somebody's calling brown and you're using a colorblind setting that makes everything blue and red, that's not going to be helpful.
You get by a little bit too. You see like 4 or 5 people all getting on one spot, and you're like, they're probably right, or we're gonna wipe.
Yeah. That's fair.
I heard the same from my other colorblind friend as well. Like Rap also have the guy in me and Zeno's static, right? He also have like very I think his colorblind is also like the one of the more serious one. So he also said the in-game colorblind option doesn't really help him because he's been playing this game for like 5-7 years already. He's been doing it without already. So suddenly when you use the colorblind option, right, it actually throws you off. Like, what am I looking at? Now everything, the way you play the game changes. So rather than dealing with how to deal with the colorblind option, they just wing it and just use a different way to call out, like this.
Yeah,
Sand and
most
stone thingy.
mechanics have a secondary way of seeing what they are other than the color, like maybe a moon icon for Tsukuyomi or whatever, or like the sand and stone thing. So you don't have to rely on the colors unless your group is calling colors, but they can call something else.
Okay. Go ahead.
I also wanted to quickly come back on the artist's point of like getting everyone together. I think our group had like the actual difficulty of like having 4 different time zones or something compared to Japan, because we have like a couple Europeans, like we have like PST, EST, and like people had to like wake up at like, I don't know, like 7 a.m. sometimes.
I think a few people had work schedules too. Like, I can come after 3.
Yeah. So like there's also like the added difficulty of the like, different time zones of like compared to Japan, where like they all like can start at the exact same 6 time, like they have the same time zone, all of them.
Well, I mean, we know the EU people you had in there, just they don't fucking do anything but play this game. So
True.
What?
True, actually.
Excuse me?
We were up to like 7-8 a.m. some days. Yeah.
Jeez. That has to be rough, though. I mean, kind of matching your schedule with like a completely different schedule across the world. But I guess like some people, like Sophia does that for his rating, of course. And then this is the first time you guys had to schedule with NA. Well, actually, no, it's not, because you always schedule server up, right? That's the schedule, isn't it?
I guess.
Rafter, Sep.
Hello?
Yeah, I was just saying your schedule. It didn't really change that much to like what you would do if you were rating with all EU, because the schedule is the same for everyone in the world. It's when the servers come up.
Yeah, pretty much. Just wake up whenever we can play.
Yeah,
You just flip your schedule early if you're not in the right time zone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for us, it's usually okay, yeah? Like, servers usually come up at like 10 a.m. my time, so
Yeah.
I don't really get that fucked.
It's true.
Nice.
All right, so I guess I'll ask this other. We'll start getting into like the content itself here. Do you believe this type of content, 48-player content, fits Final Fantasy XIV? Is it something that they should keep doing, or is it just like a one-off? It was nice to try. Good, try something else now.
I thought it was fine, but they really got to make it so you could enter with not the exact number of players. We could very easily clear without 48, but we cannot go in without 48. So we actually had Robin working, what was it, day 3? And he couldn't join us. So he literally joined the party.
No, it was day 2 onward, but yeah.
Okay, it was day 2. He joined in and queued, and then he was like, all right, I'll take a break from my work when we get to the last boss. And then we get to the end, and he can't join us, because if you're on the first platform, you can't actually go through the dungeon. But we just needed his body. And I think that's a problem.
Wow. All right. So like the strictness to the player limit, it does seem kind of weird. I don't know why they locked it down so hard. Maybe it's something with their systems or something else.
It's new. Yeah, because it's a new system. It's just like back then when they first introduced Crystal Tower, they couldn't find a way to feed. They don't have an interface to feed for the 24 people in, so they have to make you separate. It's like this time is the opposite. They make it happen, but they couldn't They couldn't do a system where it checks, okay, as long as you're in this alliance mode, you can queue in, you must have 48. So I think it's a system thingy. But I can see them, this has to be like a big feedback, because even in JP, they also feel the same. Like sometimes, after we go like 3 to 4 hours, somebody is like, okay, we need to go, we need to rep someone. And then it's like 3-4 a.m. in Japan time. And then we got 44 people. It's like, you know what? Might as well just call it, right? I mean, we plan to go 6 to 8. But now we are on the 6th hour. And we need 4 more people. We might as well just call it. Everybody agree, because sitting around and wait for 4 just to fill up 100% and then go in is like, I think it's an oversight for sure.
Yeah. How many people do you
But
think it would take?
there might have been bugs in the system already, right, when they were designing it, because like you said, it's new.
Yeah.
So
there had to be bugs. This it is the first time they tried it. But how many people do you feel like? What's the minimum you could probably do this this content with?
Like after clearing or before clearing? Because big
after. Like right now that you're starting to optimize and everything else. If you had people just kind of sit back and AFK.
Like 35 probably.
I think we do it with 32.
Something like
Something
30.
like
yeah.
that.
You
Kills
just keep
so
that
fast.
Linus player with you, and you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is you could carry like 7 people through the content.
Don't worry, Frosty, we'll get you.
No, like maybe 18. Yeah, give me. Yeah, after a show, I'll log in, and you guys just carry my dead body through it all, and then I'll get my mount and be like, hey guys, look how good I am at this game. And then run around. I do see a lot of people in Baja recently with the mounts. I always click on their name. I'm like, half the time I actually recognize who they are, which is pretty funny. But it's pretty awesome to see how many people have cleared now. I can't track it anymore, of course, because it's all just a mix of people going through. How many? I know Radiance and you guys are the main groups kind of in Aether, but are there other groups out there kind of just clearing people through and doing like weekly getting people through? Is it just you two?
Don't think
there are groups organizing.
There's some pug groups that have cleared. I do know there's a pug group that cleared.
I also know the BA Discord, they're trying to organize their own pug groups to go through too, and I think they've gotten past the first boss.
They've gotten to the third boss.
Oh, nice.
Groups on Primal and Crystal have cleared already.
Yeah. I do have a Crystal group that was week 1, and the message was, hey, I just want to make sure we had our Crystal group up here, so if anyone clears week 2, they know they're worse than Crystal. I was like, all right.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, there's a couple groups on Aether who are either cleared or are organizing to clear as well, and they're grabbing some people who've already cleared for expertise.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's kind of interesting how they did it, because even if you want to get in there, and you're having to find bodies to get people in, you kind of unintentionally carry people anyways. It kind of forces you to carry people through if you want to get in there and you don't have 48 people, right? And they're just like, I want to join because I want the clear. You're like, okay, well, I just want to get back in there. Do you guys have that urge to where you want to do this content over and over again, or is it kind of getting stale?
It's been dead after the 5th run. I think.
Really?
I don't know.
How do you guys
You get a title.
I
It's
still like
also the
doing
only
it.
content we got.
Yeah, we just went hard for the title and then we kind of stopped.
Okay.
I remember after our second clear, we were like, okay, guys, maybe we should like not spam this and do this like maybe once a week, so like we can hold on to this new content, and then like next day, kind of okay, let's go, and we spam
back-to-back runs.
Yeah.
Last time we tried a speed run to get it under 1 hour.
Oh, yeah, we kind of speed ran a little bit for fun.
Okay.
Someone had to leave, so we just like finished in under an hour.
Well,
Was
the big
it
thing.
Kyo?
No, Arthas had to go to
we did it in like
MogTalk.
56 minutes or something. Yeah, because he had
Yeah,
to
Arthas had to go to MogTalk last week, so we had to finish in 1 hour.
That is true. He did
Yeah,
have
man,
to
I
go.
couldn't get my title because of you, man, Frosty. Fuck.
Hey man, I that was a good one. I liked that show a lot, and we had a lot of people who were upset at you, and that's the normal. That's what I like. Man, just reading some of those YouTube comments after that show was horrible. Like, some of them were good, but some of them were just like, delete ultimates overall. I'm like, all right, cool. And then that's just like the conversation. But we won't go into it in this show. We banged it out last week. We won't go into Ultimate too much here with a whole bunch of people who are definitely upset about Ultimate not being here. So
No.
Yeah.
There might be some bias here.
Yeah, a little bit biased with this group.
It actually translates kind of into this content because there's a lot of people who don't kind of like give a shit about Boscha, and their opinion isn't like the dev shouldn't have put time into it. They're just like, I'm just not going to do it. And then they found out they have to do the normal mode Castrum, Lacus Latory, to get their relic for the next step. And they're like, I was told I didn't have to come in here. So now you got a lot of people trying to do that content. And you're like, well, you got to do that to get into Delubrum Reginae. And so you got players who could do Savage and like, I've never even fucking leveled.
Yeah, that is true. So how do you guys feel about it being tied to the leveling system? Do you feel like that they should remove that completely, or is it justified in some way?
I think that was a mistake. Definitely locked a lot of people out. There's a lot of people that wanted to do it after seeing that it was interesting, but they couldn't because they never leveled in the first place.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
I think it's fair because they had this exact same system for BA, and we knew we knew that this was coming, so they should have been ready.
We did.
I agree with Aura, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
JP was actually so much smarter on this. They required everyone that joined to have max amount of metal, and we were like, just join, let's go.
Yeah. I know some people in this group had to grind to rank 15 at like the last weekend before it came out. So.
I did.
I was capped because I assumed we get new levels.
You'll get them. You'll get them. How many of you guys actually have back max metal now?
I am not climbing back up ever again.
A couple of us.
At least 78,000 to do the weekly.
I was able to get some duels cleared, and I got back to max metal.
Okay.
I joined another DR group that's progging through, so my metal's still firmly 0.
Awesome. I mean, it is interesting how they did it. I do. So, if I was going to play into the thought process of why you have to do this whole leveling content, it's because they added in so much stuff. This isn't your normal raid content. You have all these extra actions. You have all these new potions. You have all these different things that interact with each other. But if you didn't do the Basha content at all, you wouldn't know how half the shit works, right?
It gets explained pretty well.
I mean, you just read the tooltip and then you would get an idea of what each action does.
Are you suggesting Final Fantasy XIV players read their tooltips?
Well, majority of people might not, but the 48 people in here, I hope they do.
Yeah, the ones doing this probably did, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We also did a lot of guesswork and stuff, like bring all these extra useless actions and they might work out, they might not. But I think they also, like, the leveling system's okay, and I guess knocking our metal back to 0 gives us reasons to do fates, which promotes helping people level, because this is like the deep dungeon type kind of level content, right? This is the alt leveling. So if we're out there doing fates, we're helping players who are leveling alt jobs. So it's kind of like artificial circulation.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, Basha is still booming. It has plenty of people in there. I don't know if people are just doing it for the relics, or I mean, I'm doing it to level up my jobs. That's probably why everybody's doing it, if they're doing it all, because Castrum's just dead.
There's still some people trying to do the duels who waited for all the hype to die down.
I mean, I'm trying to do it. I went in and did a duel yesterday, and I didn't do great, but...
Oh no.
I ran it down in a duel yesterday, and Jago was there, and I felt so bad.
Oh no, I remember that.
What happened?
I'll let him explain, but I can give my point of view.
So we were doing the fire guy duel, and I died to like a mechanic in the second phase because I didn't move out fast enough, and my re-raise didn't proc, and I felt really bad because he was there too, and probably could have done it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so for me, when Bosha first came out late October, I wanted to get the duels down because they seemed interesting, but the RNG portion was the most frustrating part of even getting into the duels. So the whole time I was in Bosha, doing the fates, spawning the CEs, I looked over all the available resources, and I had my sets down. I was ready to go. I spent 2 entire weekends grinding and never getting in. And so then I thought to myself, this is taking way too much time. I'm just going to say screw it. If it's an RNG lottery thing, I'll try again later. So 3 months pass, DR comes out. We finish all that. And so I'm like, all right, I'll give this a shot and get back into it. I qualify for Lion. I get in. And then I immediately die to Heart of Nature because I had no idea what the mechanics are. I completely forgot it. And I was being a total pepega at it. So I re-raced proc. I died a Twister because I forgot there's a Twister. Re-erase proc, etc., etc. So after it not being in my head for 3 months, I forgot a lot of the mechanics, and I had to go back to the resources to relearn how all the fights went down.
You know, that's completely fair because usually when I do weeklies, I forget everything about every single fight about the Savage fights that I'm doing, and I grief parties every week. But I'm doing better now. I'm doing it in my free time. I'm doing Party Finder as well, and so I get to see it, and so I don't forget as much. But it's a super common thing that weekly groups usually are to meme-ish because they only do it once a week and forget about it immediately afterwards. That being said, most overall, you guys think there shouldn't be such a heavy grind to get to Savage, right? There should be maybe a shorter path to get there.
I think this was a decent middle ground. I think Eureka was way too far. Eureka was way too much, but I think this is a decent middle ground.
Eureka was too far.
This is even more lenient because Eureka introduced a new zone that you had to level in before you could get in. This,
Yeah, that's what I'm
if you
saying.
did the old zone, you were already ready.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Okay, so I mean, they took a step back, and maybe it's okay then. I feel like there's just so much unique stuff to it that it's nice to kind of force players to go through and learn everything about it. Those extra actions, do you feel like it makes it more enjoyable they threw all these extra actions in?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Much more fun.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it's funny because when they start doing this, things get really, really gimmicky. Are you guys happy? Like, do you feel like it was really gimmicky, or is that just like an assumption I'm making?
Kinda. There's some,
Some
like,
of them were.
Yeah.
Some of it, yeah.
Like the traps, perception on the Minotaur boss, that was kind of gimmicky. But stuff
Okay,
like
but the mini through the gate was cool as hell.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, I guess this is their like playground for like raid content, and they're like, hey, we know we have to balance everything and keep everything serious over in Savage, but have all this fun shit over here. Kind of like Blue Mage, right? They're just like, have all that gimmicky shit, but it's not going to be in raids. And then they made this content so you could level up and kind of play together and do all the gimmicky shit, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's really enjoyable side content. The fact that they added a Savage mode that was this difficult was really surprising and really enjoyable. Because when you compare to Baldesian Arsenal, that had its own challenges and its own limitations, and I feel like the difficulty in that was a lot more team-based as opposed to individual responsibility here. That being said, the actions and the systems that they add do invigorate the gameplay somewhat, because it's not just relying on your gear and relying on your actions. There's also another system that you have to master on top of that. And that's what I think makes it very interesting. And it gives Square, if they're getting good feedback from this, it's going to give them a lot more ideas, and they're going to expand on this, and it's going to overall invigorate the game.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, this is what I feel generally in Final Fantasy XIV we kind of is lacking or getting stale in our current content already, which we are just limited to jobs. And all those jobs have specific role, and they can't have kind of like an exclusive type of ability. Like, for example, Dispel. For example, one thing, Dispel, Reflect. Stuff like this is like, they can't put it just on one job, like in 8-Man Savage or Ultimate Fight, then it will be like, it will break the balance, right? Like how people form groups for 8-man content, right? But then in BA, or in this with the logo section and everybody having access to some of this ability, and then you can just delegate like who use what, who hold what, kind of make this Savage a lot more fun than the usual outside content. So like you guys mentioned, hopefully they look at this and then they think that maybe, I mean, I don't think they need to do like a whole revamp of the battle system out there to make it like this, but maybe they can look at this and say, there are some actions that maybe some roles can have, or maybe some other roles can also do, and make like dungeon or even outside 8-man Savages more interesting, because that's something I really miss, like job specific or role specific responsibility. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's a different content, and so I mean 40, they do 48-man Savage for this. It's took us a lot by surprise at how difficult it turns out to be. I mean, mostly organizing and individual responsibility, but yeah, it's fun in another way, and hopefully they look at this and do something outside and not just the next BA, in 6.0.
I really like the dungeon crawl type content we got too. I know like other MMOs have these dungeons, but like the Minotaur, the slimes, the golems, we don't really have mobs like this in the dungeons we have now. I like having to think on them, and it's not just, go pull 12 mobs, kill them, go to the boss, kill it, go to 12 mobs, kill it. I like that
I'm not sure how you guys feel about the Minotaur. I thought the Minotaur is probably one of the most creative or most fun way to ever do an ads phase. That's how I feel.
I really liked it. It made me think of Kalia back in the day, when you had the eggs that you had to kite around, but a little bit better, right?
Kalia.
And they juked us. Wait, was it Kalia? No, I'm sorry.
Was that turn 10?
It was Kalia, yeah.
T11. Turn 10 of Binding Coil, of Final Coil.
I don't even remember the name. I don't
Yeah,
remember their
Yeah, I
name.
don't even remember the name.
Yeah,
It's T11.
yeah, I remember
It's,
T11, but I
T10
don't
was I'm Do
remember.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
But you have things like that, and we also got juked, right? We got there and they're like, we need a tank to sacrifice themselves. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. 8 minutes later, we're seeing nothing hard. We're like, oh, we're gonna blow through this, and then 10 seconds in, he phases, and we're like, what the fuck is happening? And we all die.
And you have him
was
dancing
really, really
in the
cool.
middle of the arena. It's great.
Oh yeah, he's having a grand time. He's having a grand time. And we're like, okay, well, there's these balls. Okay, can we reflect this? What can we do? That has 2,000 HP. We got to dispel that stone skin. And then, like, what's going on the outside? Do we want to send our melees out? That would seem weird to send them all the way out there. But yeah, let's just do that. And then, oh man, it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And that was like the end of our night, right? We went to sleep, and then
That was the end of
Arthur's
most
like, you
people's
guys did it in
nights.
JP, and then we watched each other and we learned, and we just went on to the Queen. It was really nice.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting because this was definitely one of those races, or well, it became one of those situations to where you all went to sleep and then JP woke up, and they're like, all right, let's watch the VODs.
Yoink.
Yeah, just went straight there. So explain that to me real quick because I saw it in chat. What's the yoink meme that's going around? Is that it?
I don't know about the chat one. But
No,
yeah.
that's what is it, Lost Mimic, where you get to steal abilities from a friend. So you'd save holster space by taking someone's abilities that you wanted to use. So they just type yoink in chat whenever they took it. Like, bro, did you just yoink me?
Yeah.
I don't think we yoinked much in Prague. It was more usually it was more like we had an idea for new mechanics, and then it was just another group going in before us because we didn't have enough people to queue in, and they just confirmed our ideas most of the time.
Oh yeah, well, like when we went to bed at night for the Minotaurs, we knew what to do, right? We just didn't have time to do it.
Right. We just watched the JP do it correctly for us. That was mostly the thing.
I mean, when we did it the second time, it was almost correct. Just sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
And JP, I think, one-shot it myself for the first time.
Speaking of JP stuff, do you guys remember day
No.
one
They
from
also
the second
look
boss?
in the Discord. They also looked at you guys' footage. Like they also look at my
that's what
stream,
I'm saying.
no stream. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then
So
you
they
wonder
kind
why
of
people don't stream Prague.
Doink as well.
Yeah. Jago, what were you saying?
I want to talk about how JP first cleared the second boss compared to how we're clearing the second boss now.
Okay.
Wait, is this the
If nobody remembers, I think
The LB3?
JP,
With
they
the
did
LB3,
LB3s, all the caster LB3s at the beginning for the first set of orb explosions, and then the second one, everybody popped the mana wall because they didn't know how to resolve the orb mechanics towards the end of that phase.
That's pretty clever, I guess. Yeah.
I think that was like our second idea. Like we had the reflect idea, and the other one was just LB nuked them. I guess. Yeah. It's like we had like both options when we wanted to go in.
The moment I got nuked by Reflect, I'm like, this is a physical attack. We just got to invuln it. For the auras, and then that was a done deal. Like right away, we had tanks on like volunteering for their invulns.
Yeah. I mean, you all were talking about, not streaming Prague and everything and why people don't do it. 48 man, that's never going to happen. It's always going to be streamed in some way, I would assume.
I think it promotes a lot of positive community aspects between each other.
Yeah. So it's never going to be like the serious, super hardcore, like 8 man, like we're going to hide, we're not going to show anything kind of race. It's going to be more like a fun race that everybody's going through and making the best out of it. It's just weird when it goes into multiple days because you do have that situation to where people watch each other's VODs, but you just have to accept that's what it's like, and maybe you'll get lucky or unlucky, depending.
It gives you a job to do to track it.
It gives me a fucking job, I guess, yeah.
I know Radiance on the third boss, where we got wolf first on the third one. I know Radiance, like the pull before, they had like a 0.5% wipe on it, while we wiped like a little bit before that, so like it was really close.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was really interesting to see how this team in general did, because again, a lot of you just kind of came in from everywhere, from all parts of the world. The super group that came together to make this happen, and it was really interesting to see having EU. We had Arthas. Arthas, you're the only one that plays on JP servers at all, right? That's in the group.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, there's so many people. I can't tell.
Speak for everybody.
Yeah, speak for everyone, Arthas. But I mean, like it was. It was
maybe not.
I think some of us dabble around in JP. I know I do sometimes.
Yeah.
Some JP people I meet online from like Twitter and stuff.
But not like Rafter or Zap. People mainly from EU.
I know.
I was actually very
someone from
surprised
the
to
other
see them.
group.
I know you guys by name, right? But when I joined the group, like, wait, what? You guys are in Aether? Like, I didn't know that. I thought you guys are always from EU.
Kana was spamming me for 2 months to come join NA.
Yeah, Kana was begging.
Oh.
That's fair.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I mean, Raft are really committed, right? Because you transfer your main character.
I mean, there's nothing to do on live, so
Yeah.
right, like everyone's already good, so might as well move my man.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be bothered to level twice, so.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to make the joke. It's so old. Never mind. I was going to say how many Amazon vouchers to kind of give you to bring you over, and I was like,
3.
only like 10 people might understand that. I don't know. The game
Amazon gift cards will be more valuable than cryptocurrency. I believe.
You think so? You think so? This is like not. You don't have to worry about taxes with it. I think, right? Screw it. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about this dungeon. Let's talk about one thing that absolutely is unique is the Connie again memed on pretty hard in chat. Is the traps. The traps with this. Did you guys feel like traps were like a good addition or just a tedious, annoying addition?
Kind
I
of.
think
They were cool for the
pointless.
duel. Robin, you could speak on that.
Yeah,
Oh
Robin,
yeah,
go.
it was a
And
big
Momo.
thing in a duel. You should ask
duel.
these two. Yeah.
Okay. It's just neat
Rob.
for the
Okay,
duel.
okay. Now that you guys talk about trap, I got this question I always been wondering. Why do you guys always specifically say, watch your screen, watch your screen? Like, what is the story?
Because we've seen a lot of clips of the other group where people don't watch their screens and they run into the traps, and we just never wanted that happening to us.
Yeah, I
Wait,
was
like they
pugging-
run
I was
straight
pugging
into
day one.
traps?
There's people would just run into them, no perception,
Yeah.
just walk right in,
Yeah.
and then they kill other people with them.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you could
And
just
now you wait.
invuln past them, right?
Yeah, but it's the issue
Above-
is
It's
above-
only
people,
tanks.
you can kill other
Yeah.
people when you trigger them. That's why.
That actually happened to us, Connor, right? In Minotaurs, we had a bunch of people stand next to a
Yeah.
poison trap,
Yeah.
Oh,
that was,
yeah.
Let's not talk
and they
about
all
that.
just died.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I guess it keeps you on your toes a little bit while you're going through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the 1v1 duel makes a lot of use of it because they create this maze you got to walk through and other mechanics that require you to accept a certain trap to get past it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
That
pretty
was
fun.
nuts.
So let's talk about the duel then. Let's talk about that. Do you feel like the duel was just this extra little thing they threw in, or was it something they definitely mastercrafted to make it an interesting part of the fight?
Well, honestly, I expected it because of Bazja. With all the duels, there was definitely going to be one in here. But you should ask Robin and Momo.
Yeah.
Their thoughts about this. They were our duel people. Robin's the one that progged it. I think he's one of the first that killed
He was,
it.
he was the first
Yeah.
that killed it. I
And then
think,
You're the
eventually-
first person to do it.
We decided to have Momo or what a DPS to do it for more damage.
Okay. So, Robin, how hard was that duel to figure out? Was it like as challenge? Well, I guess comparing it to the duels you've already seen in Baja, was it as difficult, less difficult?
I think it was less difficult, but that's also because I went in with some knowledge that there are mines in there, so I brought perception, and yeah, that was really just about it. But yeah, I was able to get to Enrage on the first pull, so I don't think it was like too hard.
Okay. Did you have everyone
Like-
kind of watching you and cheering you on, like through Discord, screen share or anything?
I think they're all just kind of doing the first ad boss right after. So yeah, I don't
No,
think anyone was.
I remember
We were
the
definitely
first
cheering
time
him, yeah.
you were
You had a
getting
lot of
cleared.
people watching.
We had a
Robin.
wall
Oh,
of people
did
doing cheer wave emotes when it came out.
Other people's streams had your stream pulled up
Hmm.
Oh wait, oh really?
yeah.
from the team. Yeah.
I actually have like the viewer count disabled on my thing, so I couldn't tell.
You had no clue?
That thing gives
Yeah,
thing
when
just
we
gives
got
me
there,
too
I
much
like rated you
anxiety.
two to show people because it was really cool. You did great.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, we could unofficially declare you the world first clearer of dueling that, because I don't think anyone else has claimed that yet, right?
I just hope Yoshi P gives me a shout out.
You had like a whole JP forum thread about you.
Yeah, the lion.
Wait, he did?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, it was It was weird.
Link it, honestly.
Yeah, link it in chat. But okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, it is neat that they added it in there. I just it just feels weird doing 48 people and then having one person kind of you depend on that one person to clear, because you have to clear it, right?
I don't think you have to.
You don't have to clear
you
it.
lose a lot of damage.
No, but it gives you
No,
loot.
you do.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you do to disable the buff at the end.
Oh, really?
No.
I
The
heard
buff at
that,
the end
but-
is from the Minotaur boss, like right before.
Yeah,
But like that 1v1 duel has nothing to do with it. It's just a buff that gives that, you just get.
Basically turns a player into two of themselves because double everything. And I believe you get an extra chest at the end of the next boss.
You get just into the next boss, and they get a gambler, right?
Yeah.
The gambler and the boss, I think.
The gambler guaranteed every time.
Okay. I thought it was something that was required. Like it was a buff that if you didn't get cleared, or like there's a buff on one of the bosses or something that like if you didn't kill a 1v1, then you couldn't get past it. But
I've heard
somebody's
that.
saying the Minotaur Lord has a buff, but we actually never didn't kill it and get to the Minotaur Lord.
Yeah, we don't have any example.
We can talk about secret buffs later, I think.
Okay.
Right, Zep?
Anybody know what that royal favorite buff's from?
All right, explain that to me real quick.
Okay, so speaking of traps, there was a mini trap, and a lot of people were like, this has to do something in the entire fight, because why else would they put a mini trap? It doesn't do anything, it doesn't actually kill you. So after we killed the second last boss, Trinity Avowed, I think Arya went back, popped the mini trap, went forward, and we found out that you could open a gate that leads to the Minotaur Lord. And like, we were like, alright, this is fine. And then like after a re-clear, we realized that the boss actually spawns before you kill the Minotaur Lord. And she spawns with the Royal Favorite buff. And we had known that this buff existed before. We didn't know what it did. And then when we saw the buff, we were like, oh, so it makes... we can't kill the boss until we get rid of that buff.
Right.
Yeah, so it was basically the Absolute Virtue support team, fight outside. Like it was that equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the reason we didn't... It was kind of a mystery is because when we did the gate the first time, it prevents the boss from spawning.
Spawning, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
so we had no clue.
So somebody, Arya went through the gate, and then we went to check the queen's arena, but the queen just doesn't spawn if you already opened the gate.
Yep.
So like
and
we had
your like
no
duty
clue.
changes for your completion reward.
I think their intent is
for
that you go to Queen without figuring out the Minotaur boss. You try to fight and realize something's up here. We gotta find the mystery. That's their intent.
I think we found it by accident.
Yeah, we
so
found
were
it
lucky.
before we actually got there. But we
Like
went
every
for the
run up
Queen.
to there, we had been looking. Is there like a hole or something? Why is there this trap here?
Yeah, we were
you were
hella
looking
searching.
for like little mouse holes at first.
There was also the platform, and it wasn't lit up. We're like, we can't go this way. We have to come back to it from somewhere else.
So some of us in Prague actually thought the buff might have been given to the players instead of the boss. I know Lunar and I were convinced that you had to, for the reflect phase on the final boss, you had to reflect kill all of the orbs. Because we're like, why would they spawn 5 orbs when you only need 1 to solve the mechanic? What if you reflect kill all of them? Does that give the party the buff to kill it? But then we saw other groups getting low percent enrages, and so we just kind of dropped the idea. The other kind of meme idea was that you have all 48 people correctly do chests and you get the buff, but I don't think they would have ever added something that strict.
I didn't expect half the shit that happened in the Savage, to be honest with you. I thought it was just going to be like 4 extreme bosses and you're done.
We also knew once we hit Enrage, we were like, we had 100 deaths. We don't need no secret buff. We just need to play better.
Okay, so let's
we also
talk-
had incorrect information initially, so I was led to believe that we had a minute less in uptime on the boss. So I was thinking, the CPS check seems kind of tight, but it turned out in the end that it wasn't actually tight at all.
My math was wrong, or my counting was wrong. I left out a minute when I was calculating the uptime. Whoops.
We needed ruby weapons.
That's true. It's true.
How does it feel about it? Did you have any of your white mages or black mages run with shields?
No.
No?
Oh, you mean? Oh, no. No, Radiant.
I saw some people running with shields on streams.
Because, I mean,
They did,
there's no point not to, right?
Yeah. I think it's 1 block or something, but it's
Yeah.
I mean, the solution was just tanks brought Aether shields, and it carried a lot of the damage on the final 2 bosses.
Okay.
It's basically a tank LBO GCD.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the mechanics in there and what really held you back during these. So, what were the biggest fuck you mechanics that you guys had to deal with going through it all?
Slimes.
Yeah, the obvious.
Okay, past lives. Past lives.
Slime.
Individual mechanics probably. The bombs was.
Dude,
hard
I
at
hate the
first
fall.
until-
I hate the fall haircut. That one
Yeah,
gives me
yeah.
the biggest trouble in the whole raid.
Was it a
Oh,
haircut?
on Trinity Avowed, there's a section where she pulls out a sword, and what she'll do is go up to the top left inner 4 squares of the arena, and she's going to turn and spawn 3 other clones. They're each going to do a left-right sword. 2 of them are going to run parallel with the 4 square, and 2 of them are going to cut through it. You have to find out which safe square is there, and then each adjacent north, south, east, west square from that is a potential spot to be hit by. And oftentimes there would be just so many people who get confused and they'd get hit by multiple and die and just go off in random directions. And that became really difficult. Suki and I were calling out the safe spot, but it actually took us a little bit because we have to figure out the safe spot for not getting hit, plus figure out the spot we need to get hit by ourselves. And the first few times, we didn't have all the pieces to the puzzle, and we didn't know that she would go to the same spot every time. So that, I think that's also holding up a lot of like pug groups too. It's just a difficult mechanic.
Okay. Was there any other ones in there?
Quick March with the
the brand
ladders.
Quick March ladders.
The whole second part of Trinity Avowed was fairly not easy.
The ladders when you got nothing. People had trouble drawing a line from nothing.
Well, because like people like confused, like does it work the same way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I suppose chess on top of it all.
The
Yeah,
chest.
The very first one is actually was harder for us to get right than the last ones. I think, right? We got a lot of people because if you get hit at the beginning, whenever there's a thrice come ruin buff, you get hit enough times, you get doomed and die. But if you don't die and you get hit, you have this damage down that you carry with you until you die, and it could really set the pace for the rest of that queen. It can make that check really tight.
The first chest.
Go ahead.
The first chest without the like player movement, where you have to move your set amount of squares, like Rin was saying, was probably the hardest. Just because like they moved into the arena during chess, all the robots would just move along the sides of the arena and never go into it. When you added in the element of them actually moving into the arena, it made like the mental gymnastics to figure out a safe spot much harder. So we had to have like I think 2 to 3 people each solve a part of it to help make it easier to then follow someone to find the safe spot.
Yes, Suki was doing the east and west. I was doing the north and south, and then kind of over time, it just more and more people. It all just started clicking. And when we killed it, like almost everybody got it right each time. It was really really nice, but it just took a couple times. And it's one of those mechanics where, and I think Zeno said it best. He's not here right now, but he said basically the way he's going to solve it is not going to be the same as how I or Rafter solve it. Right? We're all going to process it a little bit differently, and it's not wrong. It's just a different mentality, and getting everybody on the same page and understanding it correctly. That was the difficulty of that mechanic.
I also remember when the group was at that part, there were so many diagrams of people drawing out how to solve chess on Discords, and a lot of them were very valid. A lot of them had different ways of interpreting where you needed to be based on your number on your debuffs. And they were all valid. Some of them might jive better with certain others, and it also depends on the call-outs that people call out. But it's definitely one of those things that you look at the diagram, figure out how you're best going to solve it, and then whatever method works for you, because it's a personal responsibility thing, is something that you should just ultimately stick with. And seeing a lot of resources on there, it gave you some time to choose what's going to work best for you.
Okay. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Cleaves in E10, where it just people have different ways of trying to think about where it's going to cleave and how to rotate your mind correctly to make it work.
Exactly.
Okay. Who was helping figure out most of the mechanics? Was it like everyone was working together, or was there like a few key people who were working to figure out all the mechanics and how to execute?
Mostly Suki, Zep, and Rin.
Yeah.
And did I miss anyone? Oh, Libby too helped a lot. Libby gave a lot of key info too.
Rafter, it's really good with the chess.
Yeah, Rafter helped a lot
Yeah,
with the
true.
chess.
Okay.
And whenever we'd have a new person come in, I would just jump into a different voice channel and they would come up and we just talk about whatever mechanic was coming up, so we didn't clutter comms.
Did you have everyone in the same one most of the time, or was there like separate groups for comms and Discord?
Only Slimes we had separate.
We initially had separate calls, but then we just kind of merged into one because we didn't see any point in separating.
Golem side chatted us.
You don't need to talk about
We
it.
separated for Slimes and Golem side, but like at some point Golem side doesn't even have to talk anymore, so they just joined us to hear us panic on Slime side. So.
But then we realized it's super fucking stressful to be on their side and listen. You can't see what's going wrong. You just hear people going, "Oh no, what are you doing?" And we're like, "Oh god."
Yeah, this is where Ren's drawing comes in.
Yeah.
Did you have any copyright with Disney issues with your drawings this time, Ren?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
No, we're good. We're kosher. We're gonna start our own manga.
What? All right. It just reminded me of the Lion King stuff that you had for Lions and.
Oh yeah. I remember you saw that.
I was like, I don't know if we should keep restreaming his channel here.
And I just like kind of blurred out Simba's face after.
Yeah. Okay. So doing this whole 48-man experience and everything else, how does it compare to BA? Was this the better direction to take, or did BA have things in there that you're like, I wish they would have done this from BA, but instead we had to deal with this, a lesser version of it? Or was this just way better than BA in every way?
I liked it better than BA because there was less trash. There were some interesting things with the elemental rooms and the portal interactions, but I feel like when you're doing a BA run, they draw it out a little bit longer than it should have. That's my limited experience.
I actually
BA
enjoyed
had the benefit of being able to downscale it, right? And if your support group was failing, other people could assist the support group on the outside, but you did rely on them to complete it.
Mm-hmm. What were you saying, Robin?
I was just saying I just kind of missed the exploratory nature of BA. Like this one was just a corridor, go from one place to the other, right? So that bit I didn't really like, but the fights themselves I think were a lot better than what we saw in BA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just the mechanics in general. I also liked that you could die. So if you died to Ozma, you were getting flushed. You were going out. You were leveling up again. If you died here, somebody could pick up their loot and then res you with a sacrifice, or just lost to rise you. Like you weren't gone from the battle.
Just people could sit there and burn 20 arises to bring you up, right?
That's one thing that I think should have been kept in Delubrum Reginae was like some other method of failure that was just as catastrophic as wiping. And I felt like Ozma getting all the way to the end and just getting yeeted out because of Black Hole being failed.
I miss that. I like that feeling where you see this particular one. That's why I keep thinking that there's another phase. I was telling myself there has to be another phase. There has to be the big wow factor that we haven't seen yet. Because the Lala fell meme that I had wasn't in here, because I got killed by Lalafell meteors. This is why I hate Lalafells, right? During BA, right, I got killed 4 times by Lalafells, dropping the wrong meteors, and they all kill me, and then my re-raise don't proc, and all of their re-raise proc, and then I got black hole the fuck out of the instance. I was so salty, like, it makes me hate Lalafell so much. I still hate them, by the way, but like, this particular one just doesn't have that one black hole, and like you guys say in the show earlier, it's all individual mechanics. Team mechanics is not really that focus here, but it's still really it's a different challenge though. But I kind of miss that, I kind of miss that other people can fuck you up and then they kill you, they grief you, they get the clear. You are in the black hole, your team get the clear, you don't even get the achievement. Whereas this one, you can die on the ground, the other 30 people can kill for you, and then you go to Gridania, get your achievement, put your mouth and say, yeah, we did it. But you can't do that in Ozma. You have to be the man standing for Ozma,
This is true.
You don't think that the Queen's mechanics were too hard for something like that? Like the chess and stuff? Like, if,
she could have just
probably would have had
killed us if we failed chess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we probably would have had like 20 or 25 people yeeted on chess, like on Prague.
But you know what? The relentless plays really weren't that bad, right? We had calls for it already from the previous bosses, and I feel like that wasn't even a big surprise factor. That was like We didn't have a problem with those pretty much at all.
Hmm.
I think it was just Queen's Edict that was really difficult, so it wasn't too bad. I agree with Arthur's. I thought there was going to be another phase. I thought we were going to kill it, and she was going to like, I don't know, go golden or something.
It is weird that like they put the extra part right before Queen, with the Minotaur, because that was not there in normal. And so they threw that right before. Yeah, I was expecting Queen to go down and then something else to happen afterwards. So that did feel odd, but it's still hard for me to complain because I felt like they did so fucking much with this whole bit of content that how can I complain about anything? Oh, I should have had more? This feels like Square Enix went a little above and beyond.
Yeah, I think this whole dungeon, the biggest surprise for me for this 48 man is how they actually go that far to make it so much fun and so demanding. At the same time, they actually introduce a lot of brand new mechanics, a lot of mechanics that we never really do. I mean, simple left-right cleave, simple haircut, but the way they put it all together and how they do all those mini, I love the mini bosses in this Savage. Like it as a whole feel, as a raid, this feels like an actual raid. This is how raid should be. This is how, like Rin said earlier, going through a dungeon should feel like. The MMO feel, you know, you play with other 40 people, 20, 24 people. Like even when you do the normal 24 man, it didn't really feel like a raid. It feels just like a dungeon, right? You go through trash mob, and then for Alliance raid is every single party you do your own trash mob. But this one is like it feels like everybody go together, and then the mini bosses are also a challenge. Like the Minotaur, almost like most intermission bosses didn't really give people trouble after like one pull. But this Minotaur is like the one trash boss before the final boss, and it actually makes you have to brainstorm a little bit for that ads phase, you know. So it's like they done way more than I would imagine. You know, if playing Final Fantasy 14 for like 7-9 years, this has to be the most complete one, the whole package they ever done.
I kind of feel like if I had to just guess, they're like, hey, have fun with this, and they're like, let's get that old school shit and just throw it in here and see what we can do to like make that happen in the game. Even though they can't really put it to like the new audience of MMOs, but they brought all the old school stuff back in this one little package content because they can get away with it, right?
Square Enix was drinking some extra coffees to not give us fights that all are stacked spreads and proteins.
Yeah, no proteins.
We didn't get to use the 48 protein diagram.
Oh, I can guarantee you, we are going to be seeing Dynamo Exaflare in another fight.
Oh my god! You know, I'm thinking about that. So you had a 48 player protean diagram?
No,
not exactly a 48 man, but it was like
a team diagram, right?
Yeah, team. So like team A go here, team B go here,
Yeah.
team C, etc.
They could technically do 48 players with Protean. You just have to stand really far back.
Yep.
Right? Jeez. I want to see that now. I really do want to see that.
I have somebody after Clip posted like a meme. Like they posted like just a clock image, and they were like, "My spot is here on the clock."
I'm like 10:46.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I guess one of my big questions here is, do you feel like this is content we should start seeing at least every expansion? Some sort of style of large-scale Savage rating like this?
Yes, absolutely.
I would love it, yeah.
I actually would not mind if they replaced the 8-man Savage with this.
They should replace the 24-mans with this. Like every 24-man should have a 48-man Savage. Like exactly like that.
That
would be
badass. That would be
good.
That'd be fun.
But they couldn't add all the extra actions in, right? They could only add in like, it would be like your normal actions.
It'd still be fun. If it was just like a 48 man where you had to figure out mechanics and figure out how to get through things and stuff, a little bit different than the 24s, I'd be okay with that.
I mean, they couldn't, like implement actions, but they could probably do something interesting with the duty actions that, we keep memeing about.
Right, those exist, right?
They do exist, yeah. They didn't put them recently in as much, but yeah, they could probably do something with it. I guess, do you feel like 48's a good number, or should they back it down to like 24?
I think 40 is good. It's just that you should be able to enter with less, I guess. That's the only issue.
I agree with that.
You know what I get? What I get a lot of feedback is that you guys, sometimes people, some of these like party pooper, right, always comes in and say, oh, you guys try so hard, the 48 of you, 48 good players come together and try so hard, but for what? For amount. I'm like, you don't get it, man. You really think we play Final Fantasy 14 7 years, 9 years, we go through this with 48 men for the mount, for like a piece of weapon at the end? The real treasure that I personally, I'm not sure about you guys, the real treasure that I personally acquired from this 48 man is the other 47 friends that I make along the way. This is the biggest treasure, Like I never knew half of you guys, but now I do, and you guys are amazing, by the way.
I mean, how many people here didn't think they'd ever play with some of these other people here, ever, in any situation?
Yep.
And now here we are. People transfer data centers just for the chance to play. It wasn't for Cerberus. Nobody gives a shit about that. We're getting a lunar whale.
It's true. Everyone's just going to have the lunar whale. Oh my god.
8-man map. No, it was definitely really good to just get to play with people. You see this quality, right? And you learn things, and you just have fun. You have memes and stuff. It's really cool. It's a really nice time.
I guess a good question to ask. So, if we were going and we had a choice of, this is a tough question, I guess, maybe for you. We had a choice of 3 ultimates or 2 ultimates and this. Which would be the one that you would rather have?
They already chose.
Well, this was one ultimate.
They gave us one.
This was
this.
one.
Yeah,
So this is different.
2 in this.
2 in this is good. Yeah, 2 in this is good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then put one ultimate in point 1, this in point 3, and then the other. Oh wait, ultimate in point 1, ultimate in point 3, and then this in point 5 or something.
Yeah.
That's what
should be point 5.
Yeah.
I think this should be the ending of whatever that content is.
Should be at the
Because
end of the thing.
you see, if you put it in point 1, point 3, then the rest of the expansion we have all the time to plan and do 2 ultimates. Like you have at least 1 year to clear the second ultimate or both ultimate before the expansion. And then if you put this for the point 5, this is the option. This is more optional than ultimate, I think, because this one you need 48 people to commit, right? Ultimate you only need 8. So let's just say, 48 of us here, half of us decided to not do ultimate. That's fine. We can still make 3 teams to do ultimate. Whereas this one particularly, you really need people to really sit down and all 48 men to be around. So this one should be the one that when we got really nothing to do, or when we get to the end before an expansion and we just want to have a good time, not really thinking about this is still quite challenging. This is still really fun, but this is not ultimate type of stress level, right? So you put this at the end at 0.5, and then you got 6 months to organize and do this. I think it's better. So this time they fucked up, but the next ultimate or next expansion onwards, definitely two ultimate in this. Yeah.
We already have 70% of this ultimate done. So 2 ultimates next expansion, no matter what, right? There's just no way.
We hope.
Right? Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
We hope. Well, this is also less stress, right? If you put it at the end of an expansion, people aren't pressured to get best in slot to be ready for the next tier, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you put it before, people are like, well, I can't take time for that because I have to be doing this, and that goes, not everybody that's hardcore necessarily. You could have like mid-core people who want to get into it, but like my group still hasn't cleared E12. We're still working on that, so we're trying to get through this. But you have this type of content at the end of the raid tiers, and like Arthur was saying, you have time, you could schedule. It should just generally be easier because people might be bored, so they're looking for something to do, and they're like, okay, I'll do this. But if they're getting ready for the next 8-man Savage tier or for Ultimate or something, like, well, I can't really commit to a 48-man project.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really good because when you start to think about it too, and Arthur, you said this a few times, I've listened to you talk about it, is that like when it's at the very end of the expansion, introducing an ultimate, it gets all goofed up with the next expansion because the stats get weird. And so
it's very stressed. It's really stressed. Finding a group this late, knowing that again, right? I said this last week. I'm not sure about how you guys feel with this one. I actually would like to hear what Rin says this. Like, I personally think, right, after seeing what they do to UCorp and Wu, I must clear the ultimate before the expansion, because when they watered it down or they do a bad job at down syncing or they fucked up the some jobs rotation, some jobs ability, like Dark Knight. Dark Knight is fucking horrible to play in Wu and UCorp, stuff like that.
And then Gunbreaker's like locked, right?
Yeah,
like
and Gunbreaker is so fucking broken, right? So I don't want to go through ultimate in just such short time span, stress myself, find a group, get all my clears, get as much clear as I can, optimize the way it should be optimized properly. Because who the fuck still optimize UCOM and UU today, right? But we all still try to optimize T, for example. When we go into 6.0, who the fuck wants to optimize T? So I don't want this 5.5 ultimate to just only have a 4-month, 5-month period for me to actually try hard, and then the next expansion just like totally just toss it out the window. So them delaying it is fine. I don't mind that. But generally, I just didn't like the idea, COVID or not, right? I just didn't like the idea that an ultimate is in the 0.5. It's too short already. Too stressed.
I was with you. I was disappointed, right? And then a big Twitter arguments on both sides. But thinking about it, I'm relieved for a few reasons because we get first off we had this content, which is really fun. That's what we're here for today. But getting ultimate at the beginning of the next expansion means that one, people are getting used to their jobs, they're getting ready, and then they have like 2 years to do the content, like you're saying, Arthur. It's like if we do it now, there would be groups. If we had it come out in like a month, there will be people who will not have it done when the expansion comes out, and then they have to relearn it with different because like it's just gonna change. And also like how would you feel? Let's say you want to pick up the new melee DPS. And you do this fight, and then it comes out, and they don't have a weapon. At least now they're going to get that too, which is kind of whatever. But Sage and the new melee are going to get a weapon now, so that's a good thing.
I never thought about that. Yeah, that's actually nice.
All right, yeah.
So I'm okay with it coming out later, and it gives us it will motivate people to want to do well. And then at the end of the expansion, you'll have that and whatever else they release for people to help other people clear. That's what I did before this expansion. Helped a lot of people with UCOB and UU at the end when people knew strats, and people who may not ever do Ultimate or even Savage stepped foot into it because they felt like they could because it had been out long enough. But you have something new and the pressure's on and people are not consistent and it's really requiring like you to be best in slot and really on top of your game. It could be hard. Yeah. But like this Bolstra content, like I would be happy if they put it at the end of the next expansion for whatever they give us.
Okay. So I mean that seems like a pretty straightforward, like cookie cut. Like they can go forward with this next expansion and have a pretty solid raid expansion. And I feel like it's also really nice to have this near the end too, because you have all these teams kind of like going and racing and doing everything at the first half of the expansion. Then the second half they start to come together, like we see here. And start to try to get the 48-man content out of the way. And I was really happy. Rafter, Zep, every one of you guys, Skylar, I was really happy to see you all join this group because I was like, where the fuck have these guys been? I just wanted to talk to you guys again. So now I have an excuse for it, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are names that I heard from another region, but never like really like play with you guys or even talk to you guys. So this is like, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So there are some questions. There's a few questions. If anyone wants to ask them in chat, you can. So I figured we could kind of go off of the planned stuff that we had and just start asking some of these questions from chat. And the first one, let's see. The first one here was, I'm not going to read the name because I have no clue what that name is. Who griefed the most during Prague and why was it Xeris?
It was bounce, man. That boy brought pure essence of the gambler, and he's like, I'm gonna get one shot by every AOE, and then he did. He died like 9 times on the third boss.
Real talk. Okay, he did almost grief us on the hot and cold boss because that was a pull we hit 1%, but there was also the pull that he hit all the mini traps, and I legit said if we cleared, I would have been so mad because if the mini traps were needed. Yeah, that was the pull. He just ran into them for fun.
I brought eight. I was like, can I go without Aether Shield? He's like, no, you need it. And then I used it, and he just hit the ground. I'm like, I'm not using this. Nothing's saving you.
Oh my god! All right. So let's see. Let me ask this as a reverse question. Who messed up the least out of everyone? If you would have to guess.
Snap. I feel like Snap did.
Check the logs.
Yeah, I feel like it was Snap or Zap somewhere near the bottom.
Probably the physical ranged.
The physical ranged? Okay.
Suki was pretty solid too.
I remember looking at it. Snap Ringer definitely that one the least.
Okay. So this is actually a lot of these questions I feel like we've answered sort of throughout the show. This is a one. Do you think we will ever see a 48 or a 25 player ultimate? Can you even imagine?
Hopefully not.
No.
Yeah, that just doesn't even seem like that would be enjoyable.
I mean, the
no.
more
Hasn't
tanks and
this
healers you
been
get, the more
sort of?
mechanics they can give us. But this is like the best you're gonna get, I think.
This content
Yeah, I
took
think
like
it's
3 days to clear.
Yeah. I think this is. I
But
don't.
that
I
was
don't,
with
I don't
good
want to do
players.
longer. Yeah, I don't want to do longer than 3-4 days.
Let me ask this then. Do you feel like knowing what you know, like the expectations you have for what it is now, if you had these expectations going into it, would it have been cleared like a lot faster?
Yeah.
No.
Day two. No,
A-
it definitely
a
day two, I
day
think.
faster,
We
probably.
wasted so
Yeah.
many hours to AFK and people leaving. Just I think it would have been cleared day 2, honestly.
Day 2 or 3, probably.
And if we knew it was going to be this hard, I think we would have been a little more exclusive, I guess, on picking people.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I see where the next 48 man is
Yeah.
going now.
I guess half the group is gone
That's
next time.
fucking toxic, Kana.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, let's be real here. If we just merged with Radiance, for example, I think it would have died day 2.
Okay.
No,
Oh
seriously.
my god.
Here comes Klops.
Okay,
But having multiple groups working
Yeah,
at it
it's more
together
fun, yeah.
is fun. Yeah. There's no fun if there's no competition, right? Your drive kind of goes out.
Okay. This is from Timmy. For everyone, now that there's no more like raid type of content for like a next year, what's your plans? Like, do you have anything? Are you going to be like going in there leveling jobs? Or are you just like, I'm done, I'm going to go play, what is it, Aeon? Arthas? You're playing?
Don't play Minecraft.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to do something else. Like, you see, this is like a good chance to talk to those people who feel that, why we care so much about Ultimate. Yo, think about it, man. There's nothing to do. Like, what do you mean nothing to do? You can do stuff, you can learn new job. For what? You can learn a new job and optimize. For what? The new job is gonna get revamped. For what? The FF logs is not gonna matter for the rest of the raid here. Like, why do I need to go and learn a new job or optimize another new job? Literally, doing raid content and PF is just helping people to clear. But you personally, on a personal level, you don't learn anything. You might as well take this time to go and do something else, right? Me and Zeno is playing Ion because we 12 years ago we were pretty hardcore at it. Although it's just a private server, but at least it's something to do, right? It's not at the end of the world. This is like a good time to try something. And I'm also doing like mythic raiding progression in WoW, so it's like, yeah, it's a good time. Take a break from the game, you know.
You know, something I brought up, Arthur, is like you're taking a break for the game. Lama Todd and I, we're taking a break and we're playing Minecraft with some of the community. But we're like big party finder players, right? You're going to see all these people who are really good raiders who are going to take breaks and play other games. And that's okay. That's fine. That's encouraged, right? It's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to see the quality of party finder might go down for people still trying to clear. And that's okay too. But it might kind of change mentalities a little bit. I know, like, when Monster Hunter Worlds came out, Yoshi apologized because there was a content release here, but Monster Hunter Rise comes out in a month and Ultimate got delayed.
I will be playing Rise, just to let you know. I will be.
Oh yeah.
I cannot wait.
I did like the demo and everything else, and so I'll see how it goes. I mean, it's different because World was like, holy shit, this is beautiful, all this stuff's going on. Rise, you have to kind of step back to the Switch a little bit, so you kind of lose that, but it's still very fun to play. And I don't know how it's going to work on a Nintendo network, but...
hopefully, well, 3DS was not bad, okay?
Mm-hmm.
3DS was not bad. And Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii was also not bad. The infrastructure wasn't too bad playing online with people, so I think this will be okay. It'll just be different.
Okay.
But you're going to get a dog that'll fight with you.
That is my favorite part. I'm going to be honest, it is. It's definitely
pre-order to get the Golden Retriever skin?
Oh, you know I am!
Absolutely.
You know I am. Anyways, sorry, completely different thing. But yeah, I mean, it is encouraged to play other games and stuff. I'm actually filling my time with the game because I'm super casual scrub. I'm finally leveling up all my jobs in Baja, and I'm in Party Finder a couple times a week, and I get to see what the quality of Party Finder is, and man, it is something.
It is variable.
Yeah, you get everything from like a nice, wholesome party just doing their best to get to the next step of prog and trying to get through these fights and everything else. Then you get into the groups like you wipe and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you fucking idiots? Why don't you just go back to fucking kitty land or whatever, kitty poo poo land game thing or whatever. I'm like, what, dude? You okay?
People say that to you?
I've had some nasty stuff. Not to me. Usually it's not to me because I kind of know what I'm doing. Every once in a while I fuck up. But I don't, like, they fucking rip apart some other players.
Is that what Suki said when he left?
Is that what who said when he left?
Suki when he left the 12 group?
Yeah, he was like, oh,
you
you
guys
suck
suck."
ass. You suck. I don't want, fuck you guys. I should have got this re-clear done in half the time. I'm like, what the fuck, Suki? You're helping me, man.
Yeah. He's helping you become better by telling you not to suck.
By telling me not who to play with anymore, man. Jesus.
And that team was...
We cleared, Suki. Don't say shit about that team.
All you gotta do is say you had to leave.
Yeah. But no, yeah. You know, to go on like a super side note on E12S, I feel like the door boss was a little too long for Party Finder. They might have cut a mechanic or two out of that, and it might have been okay, and put it in like the second half, like a little bit shorter door boss and a little bit longer second half, because it's fucked in Party Finder. I don't know if you guys have had any experience recently in Party Finder with that fight, but it's fucked.
Second half goes pretty quick. People are pretty good. Better at that.
If they get to the second half!
If they get there,
Dude,
yes.
I don't
It's
dare
fast.
to go into Party Finder with the lion mechanic, dude. I'm too scared of Party Finder with lions.
Oh, the lion.
I don't want
Finder
to try.
does uptime now.
I don't want to try it. Yeah, even then, I don't want to try it.
I haven't seen uptime. It's only line. I've only seen line.
Line is uptime too, right? So.
Is that?
Yeah,
is
it's
that
not too
uptime?
bad. It's like a GCD loss for the big
Yeah,
but
GCD,
it's markers people understand when they see them.
Well, the main part of this is that I'm going to be experiencing. That's my goal over this whole big gap here. Maybe I'll go into Ultimates, and maybe I'll get the Savage clear for this or something else. But I don't know. I don't feel like the game's dead for the casual. It might be dead for the really hardcore raiders, though. So
We also have another 24-man coming, right? The next near raid.
Yeah. And I do want to say something. When you compare the way this game is structured to other MMOs, I don't know if World of Warcraft fixed this in their latest expansion, but before, they had a lot of factions, they had a lot of reputation. You had to do those grinds if you wanted to get anywhere. And what I like the most about this game is you don't have to do a lot of that stuff. You don't have to go hardcore. If you do, that gives you a nice leg up. But even Yoshi P, everybody has seen the interview where he said a long time ago, he doesn't want the game to feel like a big grind. You do a few things for the week and then take some time to enjoy other games.
Now, World of Warcraft is exactly the same. World of Warcraft, all those reputation grind, they take it out already. Now World of Warcraft is Warcraft feels exactly like Final Fantasy XIV right now. There's so many things you don't have to do.
Yeah, but it used to be worse. I remember those days.
Arthas has the recent WoW experience. I don't myself.
I played
keeping up.
from
I play more
release
WoW than 14 now.
to the end of Wrath, so I remember the days of those grinds, and I've heard worse stories about later expansions.
Yeah, like I don't know, Arthas. You know what? Fuck WoW. We don't need to talk about WoW. Fuck it.
Yeah. We're all playing
It's
WoW.
all
Hell
yeah.
I do it for the social experience, because everybody keep comparing WoW and 14. Everybody keep comparing Ultimate versus Mythic Raid, right? I can tell you right now, man, both games are totally different. You don't compare them.
completely.
There's nothing in WoW comparable to Ultimate Raiding. Final Fantasy XIV Ultimate Raiding is the hardest content in MMOs right now. No comparison. Mythic Raid is a joke. This 48 man now I mean I take this chance to link them together, right? This 48 man Savage is way harder than WoW Mythic Raiding.
Is it?
What?
It is.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
no,
Oh,
no
it
Yes,
way.
trust me.
I think so.
Are
It
you
is.
cutting edge, Arthurs? Are you cutting edge?
I will be cutting edge eventually. Like right now, as a Final Fantasy 14 player, right?
No,
I'm doing
Arthas,
this-
it's already week 10. You're too late.
You're too
You'll
late,
never
Arthurs.
be
You
good.
can't.
Okay, then that's why I say ultimate can't be WoW mythic rate cannot be compared to ultimate, because everybody keep telling me the same. You know, when I finish the first 2 bosses, 3 bosses, 4 bosses, now I'm on the 6th boss of mythic rate, right? I only raid 3 hours a day, 2 days a week, super casual. But whenever I go in, I'm like, wait, I was expecting something more difficult. It's not. And then everybody in chat will always tell me, oh, because you're not doing on week 1 and therefore you are outgeared. So you're telling me I will never get to that experience / difficulty of a WoW mythic rate anymore. Then how does that make WoW mythic rate ever be as comparable to ultimate? Because ultimate T today, before the next expansion, this whole 2 years T is gonna be a challenge. T is gonna be relevant. T is gonna be a challenge. So you're telling me that mythic rate doesn't age past week 2? Doesn't that make mythic rate never ever comparable to Final Fantasy Ultimate rate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that's a point. Yeah. That's definitely a point there. I don't know. I don't play well enough to give it really any proper comparison, but that makes sense. I guess that is weird that like they don't have long-standing difficult content. Like it just disappears with gear.
Yeah, and then
oranges.
And then now they throw this in. WoW players love to throw this in. Oh, imagine we have to manage 20 people plus subs for our raid days. That is actually difficult. Yeah. Yoshi P in 5. What is this patch? 5.45, right?
4.5.
Yoshi P in this patch just say, hi bitch, we have to manage 48 man.
Yeah, you don't know what it's like to do I can't even say the fucking
That reminds me of
Huh?
I was gonna say that reminds me of Classic. Actually, it was what I would compare the 48 man to.
To a 40 man.
And let me tell you, the preparation difference, it's not even close. 14 is so nice. You can just log in, you jump in the party, and you grab a few logos off the auction house. And WoW, you got like 400 gold worth of consumables, and you got to time all your like raid buffs to be up by the time you zone it. The preparation is just not even close.
You were also locked to the character that you played, right? Because you couldn't just switch jobs, and it was a lot more guild focused. So you actually had to build up a group of people you trusted rather than just picking anyone up. Like I played through like vanilla to Cataclysm, and it was pretty nice. But I still think I like the ultimate experience in this game more than reading over there.
Way more. The ultimate experience in this game is unparalleled. You cannot compare. WoW mythic rate is different. Also, I don't understand why we are in 2021. Why the hell is WoW mythic rate still locked to server and guild?
until you want to pug, you gotta wait for the servers to
like what the fuck?
But you know what? Anybody who hasn't played WoW and wants the comparison, go try it out.
Yeah, it's an MMO. Just go play it.
Maybe the grass is greener, maybe it's not.
It's brown as shit, but do what you want. All right, so the other question that came in. Let's go to some of these other questions here. What do you guys think? So the gear with haste and everything else. What do you think about that? It doesn't feel like it wasn't even remotely a requirement, right?
It's very strong.
It's very strong. Okay, so consider
some jobs benefit more.
Okay, good. Whoever
consider that you have one person with haste, it doesn't really make a difference. But now you consider 48 people with haste and how that small like DPS boost on that one person, or it might be big if they're like a samurai or a white mage. It's like super big, and then you have 48 people now with haste gear. And the difference is just huge.
Okay. So
I don't think it's as big as BA with elemental gear, where it's just like +1 elemental level.
No, it's not even close. But the elemental wheel existed there too, and that was a big scaler that we don't have.
Question: how did you guys get haste gear? It's so freaking
money.
Did I? I got really lucky.
The supply though.
If you
okay.
If you bought it a couple months
before, week 1, people put them on the market boards. When there were none on the market board, I found some for like 1 mil.
Yeah, like a couple months ago when first Southern Front came out, they were like really cheap, and like when this patch came out, they like skyrocketed to like 10 mil.
We gotta say, one of my biggest complaints was the acquisition of the first tier of haste gear. I felt like the fact that you needed that to get the second tier felt like really, and the fact that you couldn't get it from Savage or normal DR seemed like a bad system. They could have really improved that, and I think they're gonna do that in the hotfix in 2 days.
Yeah,
far too
Yeah,
rare.
yeah, that's the biggest complaint as well on the JP side. Getting that gear is getting the first tier is just unrealistic.
Okay. So the gear they kind of flopped on a little bit, but maybe they'll fix it. And
Everything
go
else
forward.
is really good though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a question in chat. I figured I'd go and ask it. Is there something to talk about with Cure 4? Was that something that was relevant?
Yes.
Okay.
Like our group banked on it because it was fucking great, and other
Kev
groups didn't.
was the one that discovered it. You should probably ask him.
Go Kev.
We at first we didn't think it was good, but Kev was the only one that thought outside the box. You can tell them about that.
I mean, I wouldn't really say it's thinking outside of the box. There was just because day one we kind of figured out by accident that one of the banners on melee DPS interacted with the essence to give them insane damage, because it doubled the duration from 15 to 30 seconds, and also removed the HP drain, so that was really good. And so we assumed there had to be a good effect for every other role as well, and had no clue. So day two, Reddit had a post with all the solutions, and for casters it was Cure 4 being a bravery. And we're like, well, that's useless, because we already have the 10-minute bravery you apply, and the Cure 4 bravery only lasts 60 seconds. So when we zoned in, we tried it. We're like, okay, 60 seconds, kind of useless. But then I had the idea of, okay, apply normal bravery on me. Can I overwrite it with Cure 4? Okay, I can overwrite it. Can bravery then overwrite my Cure 4 bravery? And it couldn't. So that means it had to be higher than at least 5%. So I was like, okay, maybe it's 6%, maybe, but if it's the OP interaction, it's probably better than that. And so we had two parties, I think, that do it the entire poll, and we just noticed everything dying much, much faster. And so from that poll on, we had all 6 parties start running Cure 4 Bravery on caster. And then I think Nabec and some others figured out was eventually a 10% increase, and so going from a 5% to 10% raid-wide permanent uptime buff is kind of huge.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. So okay, or is that something they should change, or you feel like that's just part of it? That you find little things that work really well and you run with it.
I like that they had hidden effects for old actions with the new essences, but I think they're kind of underwhelming compared to the melee one. Because melee having the banner double, a 55% damage increase banner double from 15-second duration to 30 seconds, and no longer have an HP drain, is kind of huge. But then giving a caster a devotion, basically, even though it's 10%, so it's much better, but I don't know, it just felt kind of cheap. And that's not even mentioning the physical ranged one, which is just MP regen, 1k MP every 3 seconds, kind of shit.
And
Tank one is also pretty bad.
Because so healer gets a chance for Lost Arise to work with no downside other than it failed, and then tanks gets a chance to not get doomed on sacrifice. But why would you risk getting doomed when you could just have somebody else res?
Yeah, the other ones are just really underwhelming in my opinion.
On top of that, sacrifice is 19 weight. It's ridiculously bad or mediocre to carry compared to the weight in your holster.
Yeah, melee then caster definitely got the good ones.
But in the end, it doesn't really matter because it's still fun content, and that's just how it rolls, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It would just been more fun, some more interaction with some other ones. Tank could have better things than sacrifice, I think. Bigger shields or something, I don't know.
Maybe one of the banners, the defensive banners, if it applied to the party so that they had just permanent ether shield, that would have been a lot more interesting than the sacrifice change.
Yeah, there's some interesting banners Acuity, and there's some sort of healer one that I wish they had interactions with too, because I dislike that they just made other things higher RNG chance. Because there are some times where you could use 20 arises, not get a single one to proc, or just one and you get someone up.
Okay.
We were the former.
These buffs are all really cool and stuff, but I'm gonna have a real quick complaint about the buff limit on your character. That one is really bad.
Oh man.
So explain that a little bit.
There's just a limit to how many buffs and debuffs you can have on your character. I don't know what it is exactly, but you'll hit it when you're running this many buffs, extra buffs on top of whatever you have. And you'll notice you'll start just missing and not getting your own buff supplied, and it's a real big pain.
Imagine having your inner release dodged because you're at the buff limit.
Yeah, or a Dragoon, his fourth combo, doesn't just go off. You just don't get your fourth combo as a Dragoon.
For Summoner's Phoenix window.
6.0 Warrior's going to have inner release as part of the class gauge now.
Oh, all right. So we are getting towards the end, and we've been almost at this for 2 hours now. And this has gone fucking impressively. I'm going to be honest, I thought this was just going to be a horrible clusterfuck kind of cringe fest, but you guys did a really good job on the show and kind of like being respectful of each other. And I know not everybody had a chance to talk, but we kind of expected that. There is... I was going to ask one other thing, but I completely forgot the question that I was going to ask you because I came up with it when you guys were talking about other stuff. But yeah, guys, I don't know how to close this out smoothly in any way at all, and have everyone kind of like talk a little bit. I'll read off all your names and everything. Does anyone, and whoever just speaks the loudest and is the most aggressive with it, can say it? Is there anything that you feel like we didn't go over that we should go over before we end the show?
Talk about how Suki put us in his backpack and carried us. Literally, he deserves more attention.
I want to draw for that.
100% true.
Definitely need to interview him or something. I don't know.
Suki, now, how did you carry them? Why are they saying you carried them?
I just did the call out. That's it.
That's not just it.
He was the voice of the chaos.
It's huge, though. It's huge.
Yeah, voice in the
He
chaos.
took a lot of the responsibility out of the individual mechanics. Like, he called it in the way that helped them do it, help people do it.
Can you imagine calling a fight for 14 hours straight? Can you imagine doing that for 3 days in a row and rarely fucking up?
That reminds me of one thing on the first boss where like we got to the swords and Rafter had to call the numbers every time. So like every time Rafter would speak for the caller, you would go like, you could see him sigh in his microphone because he had to call out.
Until the first pull of the next day when he sounded so happy and we were confused.
Super excited.
Oh man. All right, well, congratulations, Zuki. You are the MVP of the world race, and I hope you understand that.
Thank you, guys. But everyone did great, honestly. Like, everyone did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was really impressive, because the thing is, like, you guys all came together, and, like, from different places and different areas, but the comments were always the same, like, holy fuck, this group is badass. This is an amazing group. Everyone's amazing in this group. And you're not a core group, right? You're not like one group, one organization or anything. You're just a bunch of really great people who came together to make this happen. So,
all thanks to Connor, really. Like, he brought us all together, you know?
Yeah, I always thought Connor was a shithead. So, I mean, this is really, really great.
Same, to be honest.
So
mad because I kill him in PvP all the time.
You do. You fucking... Not anymore because I don't play it. So, I don't, I don't got to worry about it.
You scared him off of PvP?
Every time I would see Frosty in front lines, we would just hunt him down and teabag him.
Is that true?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Is that... Man, I'm just going to stop wearing the Moogle head and I'm fine, I guess. I mean, like, I expect that. I expect people see me and hunt me and everything else. To be honest, like, Frontlines is so shit to me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. To me, doing, like, 4v4... That's fun because I feel like I have control, and Frontlines, I don't feel like I have control, so that competitive urge is gone as soon as I get in the front lines. And so you can kill me and teabag me all day if it makes you feel better, Kana. I don't really care. But that being said, I can't go around to everybody and ask everybody this, but I guess I'll end here with Kana. Kana, is there anything you want to say before leaving the show today? Any shout-outs, anything about the group, anything that is just the last words of the show today from your group?
Not really, just a shout out to Suki basically for helping out with mechanics.
Okay, so Suki, you're it, man.
I shout out to literally everyone who was part of the team and all 55 people who progged since day one.
Yeah, what he said.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So great.
I had so much fun with this content.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go to someone else that might be a little bit better at this. Ren, do you want to say some last words of appreciation?
Yeah, shout outs to Suki.
God damn.
And all 55 people that were part of it. No, everybody that wasn't here today, and everybody that stuck it out and showed up each day, right? And then the people who kept going to get the people who didn't clear the first go around in is really, really nice. And everybody was a pleasure. Everybody was an absolute pleasure. It was really, really comfortable.
Okay.
The best part was like, there's no point in this raid where I was like frustrated. This isn't like the AF King part. Like, you see the 8-man Savage, you get frustrated eventually, right? Like, there's points where you're just frustrated. Like,
Oh, we did that
other
here
than
with
the AF
cluster
Kings, there was no like frustration. I just had a good time the whole way through.
Okay.
I hope everyone else
I'm
did
tired
too.
as fuck. I'm tired as fuck every day after 6 hours, 8 hours. But like, you know, when you do Savage and you do Ultimate, sometimes it's a different ball game, right? You know, sometimes you will have like discussion that can be heated. Sometimes you will have disagreement and stuff. But you would think that in a 48-man setup, it would be even worse. You would think that at some point somebody's gonna snap. But for some reason, whenever I, log off on the JP side for the day, I'm like, oh shit, the NA is gonna start. I was like, for the first time in my life, I actually tell myself, wow, I'm actually really glad can't wait to play with the NAs, for the first time. Like, you say, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I excited to play with NA? They make, I should be like, oh god, here we go again, playing with NA again. But like for this group, really make me feel like, and this is me not knowing a lot of you guys like more than you guys know one another. This is just me like, yeah, I'm gonna play with a bunch of really nice, really talented, really good NA players. So it's like, yeah, it's really super enjoyable. My best experience so far in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh,
Shoutouts to Violent and Xeno. If this was the only content you ever watched them do, you would think they were the biggest content respecters in the entire game.
Yeah.
You guys
You guys have big expectation now. I expect you guys to play like this every single time in PF. Now, you guys, the next time I see a chariot, I want to see 48 of you. I've never seen. I wish I have a good clip. I've never seen 48 people run away from a chariot with 4 Lalafell bodies distance to spare.
That is amazing, man. Well, to wrap this up, thank you guys so much for coming on today. This was an ambitious show, and it, again, went way better than I thought it would. So thank you for having this Guinness World Record for the largest MogTalk to ever exist. We have 27 guests on the show today. And it means a lot that you all came and showed up and weren't completely, meme-ish, horrible, trying to get my show canceled or anything like that. So it means a lot to me. I do want to do my own personal thanks. Thanks all of you for coming on and actually making the meme happen in some way or level. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you pretty much everyone in the raid scene that has been around and has made this whole life for me in Final Fantasy XIV way more interesting. And thank you, my wife, Carrara, for putting up with me doing this. And thank you, Andre Kane, for the music in the intro and the closing. With that all being said, I do have a quick little video that I do every week to do a thanks to Patreon supporters. And then after that, we will have the credits. I will not have everybody's names in the credits because I had no fucking clue who all was going to show up. But I do have you guys, at least Aether Group 2 in the credits here. And that being said, we will be back next week for the lore show, where we'll be bringing on at least Athos and Anonymous to talk about any updates we have and things that we can think or start to expect with the next expansion. Guys, thank you all for watching, and until next time, be good, keep cool, stay frosty. Everybody say, all 27 of you guys say bye at the same time. Do it.
Bye. Take care.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode of MogTalk. I am here to personally thank people on Patreon, and the only thing that I have interesting now is a dog to show up on camera for you. She's a little heavy, but I'm going to leave her right here. She's a little shy of the camera. But, that being said, there are 4 people who donate a good amount of money, which is Super Miyu, Dudus Antonio, Nimic from Awk Morning, and Super Miyu's from Teamcraft, and Tagalong. So thank you, the 4 of you. This is your personal thank you video here at the end. If you guys are wanting to support MogTalk with Patreon, you can do so at the bottom. One other thing that I have is I am going to be releasing some stupid videos, a few of them, and when I have them released, I will put them in there for you guys to see first before they're released. Maybe like, I don't know, an hour or so. Okay, she's really heavy. So that's it. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye.